Special Address Speaker Shri B. M. Kumaraswamy. He is basically from Shimoga of Karnataka. He is a retired principal and also an economist and All India co-convener of Swadeshi Uttarakhand Bench. He has been traveling all over the length and breadth of this country, spreading the message of Swadeshi. He is ever youthful and cheerful even at this age, and is an expert in Kautilya's Arthashastra. Now I request Shri B. M. Kumaraswamy to deliver the keynote address.
Respected Pattabhiram-ji, Sundaram-ji, and all my good friends who are assembled here from most of South India. Maybe some of my friends either have already joined or going to join from North Indian states. In the most unfortunate but inevitable absence of Sri Gurumurthy Ji, I have been requested by the organizers to step into the shoes of Mr. Gurumurthy Ji. I would like to do justice to his concepts proposed by the Hindi. Dear friends, Kautilya, in his Arthashastra, written about 2,300 years ago, he may be considered the first economist that the world has ever produced, not Adam Smith. Adam Smith was in the 18th century. Kautilya, 300 BC, 2,300 years ago. He writes, Sukhasya Moolam Dharmaha. All of us we want to be happy. We want welfare of the country, welfare of the people. This welfare, happiness, all this can be called as Sukha. He said, Sukha does not come from wealth. Sukha comes from ethics, good conduct, dharma, what we call. Sukhasya moolam dharma. Dharmasya moolam artha. The basis of dharma is wealth, artha. Therefore, if a country wants to preserve and protect its dharma, it has to preserve and protect its artha. That's why India, for thousands of years, has been not only a strong country so far as ethics is concerned, but also equally strong country so far as its economics is concerned. We had a very strong agriculture, very strong trade system, very strong industrial system, very strong science and technology system. For nearly 90% of this last Christian era, it is only since the coming of the British to this country that we have been losing to a very great extent our glorious past. Today, the world is passing through two kinds of crises simultaneously. One, environmental crisis, and another, economic crisis. The environmental crisis is on account of lack of respect for environment in the modern capitalist system, where they say nature is to be exploited. Nature is to be forced to submit all its secrets to us. We should exploit nature to make maximum utility out of it. Whereas our elders in India they taught us to milk the nature, to milk the mother nature, to respect mother nature, to take whatever she gives and be happy. It is not exploitation, but it is milking the mother nature, that is the Indian culture. Today, in the last 200 years, industrial revolution took place around 1800, and today it is 2012. Just around 200 years. This earth has been overuse of fossil fuel, coal, petroleum and all that, they have been pumping millions and millions tons of carbon dioxide, which is a polluting gas. In the making of nature, carbon dioxide is a trace gas, 0.03% of the total volume of air. In 1950, the world was producing 160 crore tons of carbon dioxide and pumping into the space. In 2006, just 56 years later, 2006, we were producing 2,700 crore tons of carbon dioxide, this polluting gas, and pumping it into the air. In 2011, the world is producing 3,300 crore tons of carbon dioxide and pumping into the air. In 60 years period, just 60 years from 1950, carbon dioxide production and emission has increased by more than 20 times. As IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which the United Nations has formed, a team consisting of more than 3,000 scientists drawn from different countries of the world, whose chairman is Dr. Rajkumar Pachauri, an Indian scientist, the present chairman. The IPCC in its fourth assessment report very clearly points out, if the human beings do not alter their ways, if they follow what is called business as usual approach for the next 50 years and continue to burn fossil fuels like this for production of energy and other things, by 2100, global temperature will increase from 1.5 degrees Celsius to 6 degrees Celsius, and large number of species, including human beings, may be totally extinct. So, we are almost on the verge of total environmental extinction. This modern technology, the Western technology, Western capitalism, has been killing this earth. Within a short span of 200 years, they have come to the verge of total extinction of the life system on this earth. You must think whether there is any future for this country or any country in following the same Western developmental model or the same economic model. See, today, at the end of 2010, the world is consuming 87 million barrels of petroleum per day. 87 million barrels per day of petroleum, of which 60% is consumed by top 10 countries only. 60% of this daily petroleum consumption of 80 million barrels is consumed only by top 10 countries. USA 90 million barrels per day, China 9 million barrels per day, Japan 4.45 million barrels per day, India 3.12 million barrels per day. India is the fourth largest petroleum consumer in the world. And it is also the largest emitter of, fourth largest emitter of carbon dioxide, fourth largest polluting country in the world. China 8.95 billion tons of carbon dioxide emission. US, China number one polluting country today. America number 2 polluting country, 5.25 billion tons of carbon dioxide. European Union 3.15 billion tons of carbon dioxide, and India 1.84 billion tons of carbon dioxide. So, since we started following this globalized model for the last 20 years, following the American model, following the European model, India has emerged to be the fourth largest consumer of petroleum products and the fourth largest polluter of the world. But who has been benefited out of this globalized economic policy? Has anybody been benefited? If benefited, who has been benefited? The IPCC points out, it is fourth assessment report, it points out, by 2100, we are already in 2012, and the 70-80 years, most of the life forms may be extinct from the face of this earth on account of the over-exploitation of Mother Nature. 2010 was the hottest year since record keeping of global temperature began in 1894. For the last 180 years or so, the world is keeping a written record of global temperature in different countries. So in this written history of global temperature, 2010 was the hottest year. In 2009, 15,000 people died on account of environmental disasters. In 2010, 260,000 people died on account of environmental disasters. These are the recorded events. Unrecorded, we do not know. Now, the main question is, India as an old country, a very ancient country, should we follow the same Western model, which is a suicidal model? This is not economic development, this is mass suicide. Just in 200 years, last 200 years, we have exploited Mother Nature to such an extent that her days are numbered. How many years? Maybe 50 years, maybe 60 years, maybe 70 years. Should we follow this development model? We should follow the model of mass suicide. And India has also followed this path of mass suicide. And in this past 20 years of globalization, what the country has achieved? Recently, 2011 census had conducted a family survey, and the family survey report has been released very recently, some 2-3 months ago. The family survey report very clearly points out 63% of Indians they use mobile, 53% use mobile, 7% poor people they use landline. Landline has no respect in the post-globalist era. So 60% of the people use mobile in India. 53% of the houses do not have toilet. So in the last 20 years of globalization, we have built an India where there are more mobiles than toilets. The Census Commissioner writes that India has the largest population of openly defecating people. Is this globalization? Government says India is $1 trillion economy. There are only 12 countries in the world whose GDP is more than $1 trillion. In 1976, India joined this exclusive club of $1 trillion economy. But the census report points out 53% of the houses do not have toilet. 60% of the people they use mobile. Should we call this country a progressing country or a backward country? 53% of the people are here, 60% of the people have not received any benefit out of globalization. In fact, they have lost whatever even they had. 260,000 farmers have committed suicide in the last 16 years of globalization. India is a strong country. Bharat is a strong country. It has got basic strength in itself, basic strength in its people, in its culture. But the inappropriate and wrong economic policies of the governments in the last 20 years, especially of globalization, is weakening the Indian economy, which is basically strong. See, we have 121 crore population. Nearly 40% of our population is young population. That's why they say India is a young population. American population, European population, or old population. Geriatric population, they say. whereas India is a young population. If only the government can give proper food, nutrition, basic education and training to all our youth, India can boast of the strongest human resource in the whole world. No country can challenge us in our human resources. But the human resources are wasted only in pampering the urban elites and totally neglecting the rural masses, especially the children. Food and nutrition and even drinking water has become a very serious problem in this country. This is not the weakness of the country, this is weakness of the economic policy that we are following, where we think copying America is the best policy for us. Look at the European Union. Now the entire European Union is not neck deep, it is nose deep in debt. Nobody is prepared to give them debt. Germany is the only country in the European Union which is reasonably stronger when compared to other European countries, six countries. Portugal, Ireland, Greece, Spain and others. And the German people are now protesting against their governments and they start extending assistance, financial assistance to the other European Union countries. They said if you go on distributing those to other European countries like this, and Germany itself may become proper, and therefore we will not approve this kind of one country helping all the other European Union countries. So European Union is in great problem, and the Euro is in great problem. Think of the United States of America. Protest Wall Street. That movement was started in 2008 after this global meltdown by the common people. What was that slogan? The slogan was, we are 99%. That means to say, those people who are adversely affected by this free market economy, this globalized policy, those who did not get any benefit, those who got kicks out of this policy, we are 99%. It is only the 1% of the American population that got all the benefits. So they say they are protesting against this free market capitalism. European Union is protesting against free market capitalism, and India is also has its own quota of problem since 2008. Today, in the whole country, there is worst kind of droughts. People are telling in the last 50 years we did not get this kind of a drought situation. Once a drought takes place, our agriculture, which is already started, will be furtherly emaciated, unemployment will increase, and inflation rate will increase. But the problem with the government of India, Manmohan Singh, P. Chidambaram and others, the government is, people who matter in the government is, the solution for recession in India is more globalization. What Manmohan Singh is thinking? He is telling that we have to increase the FDI cap in insurance sector from 26% to 49%. And open our multi-brand retail trade to FDI investment. And these companies have already failed in their respective home countries. And they are trying to come to India in order to provide us this valuation. That's what Manmohan Singh says. Globalized policy, free market capitalism has been a total failure all over the world, including its birthplace in the United States of America and the European Union. But here is a government which says more globalization will be the solution for our existing problems. People with even little common sense will not agree with this. And therefore, we must insist on the government to follow an economic policy. You throw away this free market capitalism, lock, stock and barrel, and try to evolve an economic policy which fits into the Indian requirement, which answers our immediate problem, national problems. We need an economic policy which is not GDP centric. We need an economic policy which is You provide employment to all the youths. They will turn this country into wonders. They have enormous capacity. We have to depend upon our human resources, our population, our youth. You provide them food and nutrition, good water, good basic health facilities and employment opportunities. But now, employment is totally neglected by this new policy. You follow an energy policy which is environmentally sustainable. Don't start generating more and more power out of the same coal or nuclear power. You go in a big way for renewable power such as solar power, wind power. There are any number of opportunities provided you have got an eye to see. Therefore, following the same old failed economic policy year after year, decade after decade, will not bring any solution to the problems of this country. You know, ask the government, what have you produced in 20 years of globalization? 53% of the people do not have toilet in their houses. In Jharkhand, Bihar and Odisha, it amounts to 76% of the people of the houses do not have toilet. Is this the country that we wanted to build? Is it the type of country that our freedom fighters sacrificed all that to build such a country where 70% of the people do not have toilet facilities, whereas 50% of the people have mobile? What should be our priority? Should health be our priority or should mobile be our priority? I don't say mobile is not required, but after toilet, after health, after water, after sanitation. But the present economic policy is skewed economic policy. All multinational mobile companies come to India and start doing business. Everybody provides loans, but who will take care of our toilets? Therefore, this kind of free market capitalism that the government is following for the last 20 years and wants to follow another 40-50 years is not going to solve any of our problems. Therefore, in Swadeshi Jagarandan, we strongly insist the government to throw this free market capitalism lock, stock and barrel and evolve a new economic policy in which people are very important. Living standards of the people improve very rapidly. People are provided employment opportunities. Human resources are developed to a very great extent, and you take care of the human resources and the GDP will take care of itself. We want an economic policy which is fitted to answer India's immediate national problems. It must fit into our economic problems, it must fit into our cultural requirement, it must fit into our environmental situation. We do not want an economic policy where we copy America and other Western countries. Therefore, great responsibility lies on us. I will be telling again and again the quotation which says, dumb people and deaf governments cannot make a democracy. If you want to strengthen democracy, people must not be dumb. People must be vocal. They must tell the government at different levels that this kind of economic policy is not wanted by us. This is not delivered the equal results for the country. We want an economic policy where India is involved. India-centric economic policy. People-centric economic policy, not the GDP-centric economic policy that we have been following for the last 20 years or so. And our economic policy should be environmentally sustainable. In Manudharma Shastra, he says very clearly, Parityate Arthakamo Yausyakam Dharmavarjitau. Those Arthakam, those economic activities and those desires which are against the ethics, which are against Dharma, Parityate, give up such desires, give up such economic activities. All your desires and all your economic activities should be consistent with the Dharma. Rashtra Dharma, Samaj investigate. Once again, we must bring these lessons before our people, and Swadeshi Jagarana, right from its inception in 1991, has been consistently warning the government, consistently telling the government that this policy is not going to give any benefit, not only to India, but to any country that is adopted. Within 20 years, we are seeing the results all over the world. The entire world is in a great economic crisis today, and therefore we must learn the lesson. And in this background, this which our national seminar of Swadeshi Jagarana is organized, and as Mr. Srinivasan rightly pointed out, over the next 3 days, we are going to, different experts are going to throw light on different aspects of our national issues, maybe issues of agriculture, issues of higher education, issues of retail trade, which is very, very important. Government is trying to throw open multi-brand retail to FDI, foreign direct investment, which will pose a very serious problem for all of us. And our brothers, the retail traders, small traders, roadside traders, and we must protest against this very seriously. So, what are the issues involved in FDI coming to retail trade in India, and various other issues will be discussed in next 3 days. We must all participate in this and try to evolve an economic policy which fits into India's requirement and India's aspirations and India's youth. And you must work after 3 days, you must disperse from this Vicharavarga with greater vigor to work for Swadeshi, because Swadeshi is myself. Each one of us is Swadeshi. My welfare is Swadeshi. Swadeshi welfare is my welfare. Swadeshi welfare is your welfare. Swadeshi welfare is the welfare of all your families and friends. And therefore, Swadeshi is myself, our existence, our welfare. And therefore, we must try to strengthen and work for the Swadeshi economic policy, and we must insist on the government with great vigor, not keeping ourselves down. We must insist on the government with all our might to change this globalized economic policy, free market economic policy, and immediately adopt an economic policy which answers the immediate problems of this great country, India. So, with these few words, I will declare this national seminar open, and I wish great success to the Vicharavarga National Seminar, Vicharavarga, organized by Tamil Nadu Swadeshi Jagarana Group. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for giving us an energetic, vibrant, motivational inaugural speech on inaugurating this seminar. Before ending of this session, before the vote of thanks, I want to say a few words. There are some few things which will be useful for the participants. The accommodation for the delegates who have come from the other